Alright, so our render is complete, and I don't know what it is about it. Let me compare it with the last one. Oh yeah, we do have rain in this. I might need to change the location of our plane up atop for the rain. But anyway, about the scene. This one looks bright and gives a different kind of feel. Like it's all well lit, and I'd say looks very normal. This one, I don't know, maybe because we can see the inside of it, looks spooky, like something's going on. And maybe it'll look good if I actually dim out these lights even more and just keep like the traffic lights on or little bits of light, just to show that there is something going on in the background, instead of something like this, which is like almost fully lit, even with just like a blue background. But this looks really nice. Or I might just try to light this background up a bit, but I think I'll stick with this angle, and we can always go back and forth. And according to our final scene, I might like move these trees up a bit to include them in our scene. But this does not look bad, and if I add the depth of field, it'll probably look a lot better. Now, can't really see some of these. Well, and I guess that's fine, can't really help it. But let me add depth of field in the next render and see what that looks like. And maybe add a little bit of lighting in these and fix that up a bit, and decrease the lighting in this and make it a little spookier, because the attention should be on this, and right now it is. This is the main focus of it right now, but in the last one you don't really know if this is coming the way or we're supposed to focus on it without the depth of field. So let's go ahead and render another one. Alright, so this one, it's not even on the ground, and I might actually like to ground that just in case. This needs to be lit up a little bit more, because we saw our last render, and if I go back to it, it's kind of dull. It's kind of alright actually, so I'll keep that, but I'll increase the emission strength on some of these. What is this even on? The top? That's it. Don't need that. What's this on? Oh, we don't need that either because we can't see that. And this is the predator at the top. So this is the actual building. So I guess I could increase this to something like 1. That is the only emission we have. Okay, that's fine. So we need to up this, maybe add a light back down there, and decrease this lighting a bit, just a tiny bit. Let me go back to our viewport, and lighting back there, maybe somewhere around here. If I can just move this along, oops, move this along here and duplicate this as well one more time, just for the, it's not like we're even gonna be able to see this, but it's good to have yourself covered to some extent. I know we can't see this, but let's just call this perfectionist act of mine. And we're going to move this into our field of view. Actually, we are actually raining on top, so that's fine. We don't need to move that anymore. What I was going to do is add depth of field, And the other thing was decrease the lighting on these. Right now they're 500, maybe like 300 on all of these. Let's see. This one 300 too. 300, maybe even 200, I'm not sure. Because that's strong, very strong. Let's go with 200. Get a bit more of a nighttime scene. What is this on? That is on 200 as well. Still very very strong. Now if you go to our camera, and I'm gonna add a empty, which is gonna be the focus for our scene, and I want to focus on this phone, although our phone is not detailed enough, and I might end up at the end texturing it or something just to make it look a bit better, because this doesn't really have anything on it. But this is our focal plane right now. Depth of field, and give it to the empty 2.4. Nice bokeh. A bit too much though. Let's go with, because I like this bokeh, it's too much. 2.4 is much. In the real world 1.2 is standard, so let's just stick with this for now. Can actually decrease it just a bit, but we want to be able to see something in the background at least. 1.4, let's go with 1.4. Okay, fine, let's go 1.2. That should be good. We filled up the light, the tree. I'm gonna add another tree, since we might actually probably be sticking with this layout. I can't even see this tree in the scene. Yeah, let's go ahead with, actually over here this looks a little bland. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, let's go ahead and render this then and see how it looks like on a different layer. Be right back. Okay, so we have our render complete, and it looks as if the light has increased. Maybe I didn't, like, it was all dark over here last. Now it's all bright, but the depth of field looks nice. Let's just look at the depth of field right now, and it looks nice because of this background. I think it's enough. We don't need to increase it. You can see these water droplets too. Although they're a bit too straight. I might want them to go a little to one side with the wind. Definitely increase the lighting. I'm gonna have to fix that right now. Okay, so somehow the lighting was increased. Let me go back to Eevee. And this is on 2000. I knew it. This was supposed to be on 200. Okay, so what else did we need to fix? Because we've done that now. This lighting actually looks decent. We don't really need to decrease it. After looking at this looks decent. So maybe 500 should go down to 300 instead of 200. I don't know. We'll take a test render for that. Let me change the droplets a bit. The lighting looks okay in this. Actually don't like this because this makes it prominent that there's nothing in the background, but in this it kind of fades out and you don't really know. So I'm going to delete this. And what else do we have? Yeah, this ground looks a bit flat, which is definitely not good. We should put some displacement or maybe bump mapping so that it's a bit rough, because right now it does not look that good. and that's about it. This looks fine. Depth of field is fine. Background is also fine, although I kind of like it. I don't know, maybe it's the lighting. Let me go ahead and try a test render with this again. This is on 200. Let me add this depth onto this. Let's see if I can add. Does it already have a normal map on? It does not. Add a bump to our normal and set it to the same as this. Not to the strength, to the height. That looks nice. Way nicer. Can't really see this. Can we see this in the test render or not? Can see this. So I'll just make sure that maybe even add a bit of displacement. It looks fine right now. Bit too much, to be honest. But maybe from this angle you can't really tell as much, especially because it's a flat angle. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this to 0.5 or 0.7. 0.6 is fine, and I will go ahead and use a subsurf on it. And can I see this curve? A bit I can, yeah. That's okay. And that's so I can use a displacement map on this. Let's see. I didn't think this would work. Displacement would work. And it doesn't look like it's working. Let's see, let's add a color ramp. Actually, let me just go ahead and copy this and attach this to that way. That way we can get a better look at what's happening. Probably to see it better like this. What in the world is happening? Let me go ahead and object relations make single user. Okay, and now we can go ahead and apply this. That did not make any difference. That's so weird. No way, it did. You should have. That's not even proper displacement, man. I don't know what this is. Let's get rid of this. Let's put on a proper displacement, because this is all wonky as well. We don't need a subsurf. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Yeah. Get rid of that. And let's go ahead and add a displacement with the texture being texture being an image, oops, and that image is gonna be the same one called texture.com, and displacement strength is gonna be maximum 1. Now we might need a subsurf on top. Let's see. Increase the strength to 0.2. I don't know, man. I don't think this looks so good. Yeah, I think I'll skip displacement. Might look good, but we've got bump, so let's just stick with the bump for now. We can mess around with it a bit later on. This is really straight. Let's go ahead and delete all vegs and maybe give it a velocity of about 2 and see if that works. Or maybe like 10. I don't think it really matters. I don't think this is really working. Let's go ahead and add a, well, not a wind, not a wind. Okay, a wind that's blowing this way. And how about 20, like really strong wind? No noise, no nothing. Let's go ahead and check that out now. What the hell is happening? You see, the flow is too much. That looks nice though. It is straight. It is still straight. Let's go ahead with the 1. Yeah, we don't need this. That wind is fine, but it kind of isn't enough. And I think I should start this up over here. I wish I could animate these trees as well. What do you mean I wish? I will animate these trees and look way more realistic all of a sudden. Just a little bit of wind in them. You see? Do you see how that looks now? A bit too much maybe wind, but at least it's all in the scene, right? It's all in the scene, right? The wind maybe a bit too much, but if we decrease the wind to like 10, that should put it inside the scene. Yeah, that's inside the scene. How does it look? Actually looks fine. Let's go ahead and bake it. Bake it. 20,000 is fine. Bake. Let's go ahead and save it and go back and go back to 18. Now we have a nice scene with nice rain, a nice depth of field, and a nice... Okay, so now we need to add life to this. So next we're going to be adding maybe a few people walking here and there with umbrellas, obviously, and maybe a car or two, maybe one going across and then maybe two coming down. So we have a few things. We have like life. That's like, it's not just like an abandoned city or something. It's actually something that we live in, and that will make it look a lot nicer. Let's go back to frame 1. Go ahead and give this a test render on shot number 6. Well, so we're done with our render. This looks really good now. The lighting might be a little low on this part. Maybe I might prefer to see telephone, but it looks better than number, yeah. So we have the depth of field in. We have, well, I'm in a different frame, so that's why it's a little closer, but that doesn't matter. So we have the depth of field in, the lighting is decreased, and the focus is all on the telephone booth right now, which is great. The background looks nice and everything looks great. Actually, I might up the lighting to 300. This is 500, this is 200, just a tad. So 300 would be like a good spot. I did actually happen to get a Eevee render, and this looks amazing. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's the bloom that Eevee gives you. We can always add this in post, you know, even this little bloom on the water droplet that we have due to our depth of field, which looks amazing, I think. And the ground with this shallow depth of field, and maybe like a little bit of bumpiness that we can see. And I like this so much that I might actually consider rendering the final one in Eevee if I wanted to save time. This took 46 seconds and this took 7 minutes. So if I want to, that's like 7 times, more than even 7 times faster. So if I want to save time, I would definitely render in Eevee, and actually I won't have to do all the post-processing for this glow and stuff. The thing that makes this render stand out is the glow, first of all, and I did have the rain going at a fairly steep angle, so I fixed this just a bit so it's not so steep, as you can see. And these are both, this is on the different frame as well, frame 11, this is frame 80, so we do have a little bit of a difference. And the light inside the booth that we made is kind of piercing through, and I don't mind that. It looks very good. And inside the booth, it looks pretty much the same, except for this shadow back here. And the thing is with this, that everything else is dark, and this light is shining directly onto this area, and it's just lighting and making our eye making like our eye automatically drag to this point, and it's making us focus on this. Whereas in this render, the light is capturing our attention, but the shallow depth of field, and there's not enough darkness, I'd say. And now that I think of it, this actually looks a lot better to some extent. Looking at the background and everything, there's not much difference. With the cycles, we can see the globes. I don't know why we can see these. We're not supposed to be able to see these. I'll go ahead and check. But with the Eevee, we can't really see any lighting back here. And I was supposed to remove this as well. Anyway, we have these two renders to compare for. Wait, come to think of it, we're only supposed to be able to see this light. This is facing the other way, this is facing the other way. But somehow we can still see it. I think Eevee kind of like doesn't consider that we're not looking at it. Because this light is inside the box too, but we can kind of see it piercing through, and same thing goes with this. Although no one's really going to notice, and it actually looks kind of nice. But just a technicality here, Cycles is a lot more realistic. And I could probably recreate the whole scene. Things I like about this scene with Cycles, maybe reducing the lighting in the front and adding these glow effects in post, and we could get a similar result, I'm guessing. I'm going to go ahead and save all these actually. Like this is where we started from, and this right now is a lot better. This looks raw, and this just maybe because of the depth of the field, just looks a lot more cinematic already. And the camera angle is from a low angle, also giving that kind of vibe that something spooky is going on, I'd say. This looks more like a Vice City GTA kind of graphics. We moved to here, then we added the lighting too much, then the depth of field Eevee. So I'm gonna actually go and save all these images so that we have a record of our progress. And let me just go with, I'm just gonna number it 11, and if I keep moving on, actually I'll go with this one without just a motion blur check. So I'll go ahead 4, save as 12, and then lighting, this is I'd say this is a bonus, so we won't save that. This is Eevee, and then this is Cycles. Save as Cycles, yeah. And what we can do now is if we go ahead and add these to our setup. So let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can drag and drop this to PureRef and have a different kind of thing going on here, in which we start with this and we went to this is Eevee, and this is, so now we have the starting angle, change the angle, change the lighting, Eevee, change the lighting, and Cycles, and we have like a progress bar that we can keep track of as well. Save it, save. Right, so now what do we need to edit? Now all these glow effects and all this nice stuff we can come back to and edit at the end, but now let's get the primary things going first. So as much as I like this scene a lot already, I'm gonna go ahead and think I'm gonna remove this light. Yeah, we can see this in the background. Remove this light, add a car, a few people, maybe a few cars, although I might want to keep it like late at night kind of time, so there won't be as many people in cars, but we could experiment with that as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and add maybe a little fog, so it's like a winter chilly fog. And then at the end we can go and add a little bit of animation to the trees for wind, and obviously then post effects. So let's get going with finding a car and a nice walk animation, and we can all find that all on Google, and then we'll add them to our scene. Let's go ahead and get started on that then.